Some men are remembered for their courage, others for their cruelty. Some are called heroes while others are called villains. Some names make people proud, others make people afraid. Today we tell the story of a man who was all of this, at different times to different people. A man whose life was a mixture of power, pain, fear, and ambition. A man who rose from nothing, ruled a nation with iron will, and became a symbol of what absolute power can do. His name is Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein Abdel-Majid al-Tikriti was born on April 28, 1937, in a small, dusty village called Al-Auja, near Tikrit in northern Iraq. His birth was not joyful. His father had either died or disappeared before Saddam was born. Historians still debate the truth, but the result was clear. Saddam grew up without a father. His mother, Subatulfa, had already lost a son before Saddam's birth. Alone and heartbroken, she struggled to care for him. During the first years of his life, Saddam lived with relatives, missing the warmth and guidance of parents. This early childhood left a mark of loneliness and emotional trauma. Later, his mother married a man named Hassan al-Ibrahim, who was poor, strict, and violent. Saddam grew up afraid of his stepfather, often beaten, learning that life could be cruel and harsh. Kindness was rare, and fear ruled the home. Saddam could barely read or write until he was about 10. During this time, he started developing a desire for respect, strength, and control, fueled by anger and fear. At the age of 10, Saddam went to live with his uncle, Khalil al-Tulfa, in Baghdad. Khalil was a former army officer, a strong Arab nationalist, and a man who despised foreign control. He believed that power was everything, and that only the strong could lead. Khalil taught Saddam about politics, war, leadership, and control. These lessons shaped Saddam's mind more than school ever could. He learned to see the world as a place where power, fear, and strategy ruled. Saddam attended school in Baghdad, but focused more on intimidation and discipline than academics. He carried weapons, fought classmates, and learned to command respect or fear. During his teenage years, he became calculating, patient, and ambitious, preparing himself for a future far larger than any classroom. In the late 1950s, Iraq faced turmoil. The monarchy had been overthrown, and the country was unstable. Young nationalists wanted Arab unity, independence, and strong leadership. Saddam joined the Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party, which believed in power through strength and unity through force. At 22, Saddam participated in a dangerous mission to assassinate Iraq's Prime Minister, Abdul Karim Qasim. The plan failed. Saddam was injured but escaped Baghdad, traveling secretly to Syria and Egypt. There he lived under a false identity and stayed in touch with the Ba'ath Party. He remained patient, waiting for the right moment to rise. In 1963, the Ba'ath Party briefly took control of Iraq, and Saddam returned home. The government collapsed after 9 months, forcing Saddam to go underground. He continued organizing with party members, marrying his cousin Sajida, and raising a family. The Ba'ath Party returned to power in 1968. Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr became president, and Saddam assumed the role of vice president. Despite the official title, Saddam held the real power. He controlled intelligence, secret police, and networks of loyalty and fear. Those who obeyed were rewarded, and those who resisted were punished. Saddam became the shadow ruler of Iraq, patient, intelligent, and ruthless. In 1979, President al-Bakr resigned. The real reason was clear. Saddam had gained control over the government. The next day, Saddam became president of Iraq. He immediately removed threats. Over 60 party leaders were eliminated in one purge. This act sent a clear message. No one was untouchable. Saddam combined fear with strategy. He expanded the intelligence services, placed loyal family members in key positions, and created a system where citizens could receive benefits, but also remain under constant observation. Schools, hospitals, and infrastructure improved, but these improvements strengthened his control. Some Iraqis saw him as a hero, bringing order, development, and pride to the country. Others saw him as a tyrant, ruling through fear, oppression, and violence. One thing was certain: Saddam Hussein was now the master of Iraq, and the world would soon notice. After rising to power, Saddam Hussein ruled Iraq with iron hands and careful calculation. He controlled the army, the secret police, and the media. Fear and loyalty became his tools. Citizens saw his face everywhere, in schools, newspapers, television. Some admired him as a strong leader who modernized Iraq. Others feared his cruelty and lived in constant silence, afraid that one wrong word could destroy their lives. In 1980, Saddam made a bold decision. He invaded Iran, believing it to be weak after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Saddam wanted to prove Iraq's strength and prevent the revolutionary ideas from spreading. The war, however, did not go as planned. 8 years of fighting turned the region into a battlefield. Over 1 million soldiers and civilians died, and both countries suffered immense destruction. Chemical weapons, child soldiers, and mass executions made the conflict one of the bloodiest of the 20th century. Saddam never stopped projecting strength. He continued giving speeches, building statues of himself, and presenting Iraq as victorious. While the country burned, Saddam made sure reality followed his narrative. Poets wrote about him. Children were taught to see him as a father of the nation. Fear and propaganda became his shield. After the war, Iraq faced a severe economic crisis. Thousands were unemployed, cities were damaged, and the country owed debts to neighboring nations. Saddam blamed Kuwait for producing extra oil and lowering prices, which hurt Iraq's income. In August 1990, Saddam ordered Iraqi troops to invade Kuwait. Within 48 hours, Kuwait fell, and Saddam declared it Iraq's 19th province. At first, he believed the world would remain silent. Global powers, however, reacted quickly. The United Nations condemned the invasion, demanding Iraq withdraw. Saddam refused. He claimed Kuwait was historically part of Iraq and accused Western nations of interfering in Arab lands. On January 17, 1991, the United States and its allies launched Operation Desert Storm. Airstrikes destroyed Iraq's military, infrastructure, and communication networks. By February 28, coalition forces freed Kuwait after a swift ground invasion. Although Iraq was defeated, Saddam remained in power. He appeared on television smiling, calling it a spiritual victory. Internally, however, Iraq was collapsing. After the Gulf War, Shia Muslims in the south and Kurds in the north rose against Saddam. They hoped for international help, but the U.S. stopped at the border, leaving them vulnerable. Saddam crushed the rebellions with tanks, airstrikes, and ruthless force. Thousands were killed, and villages were destroyed. Even within his family, Saddam demanded absolute loyalty. His sons Uday and Qusay and relatives held powerful positions, but fear ruled every relationship. Betrayal meant death. Friends, colleagues, and even party members learned that obedience was survival. Saddam continued ruling through propaganda, fear, and control. Statues, songs, currency, and media reinforced his image. Meanwhile, Iraq struggled under UN sanctions, and billions of dollars from the Oil for Food program were stolen by those close to Saddam. Hunger, disease, and malnutrition spread, but his rule persisted through fear and exhaustion. After September 11, 2001, the U.S. shifted attention to countries believed to be dangerous. Saddam's Iraq became a target, accused of hiding weapons of mass destruction. Weapons inspectors had visited since 1991, destroying old stockpiles and closing programs, but Saddam refused to cooperate fully. In 2003, the U.S. and U.K. launched Operation Iraqi Freedom, citing Saddam as a threat. Airstrikes began on March 20, 2003, followed by a ground invasion. Baghdad fell quickly. A massive statue of Saddam was toppled in Firdos Square, becoming the world's symbol of his fall. Yet Saddam had disappeared. Rumors spread that he was dead, hiding in Syria or underground. For 8 months, Saddam remained at large. The U.S. launched Operation Red Dawn, searching near Tikrit. On December 13, 2003, soldiers found him hiding in a small underground hole. Dirty, tired, with a long gray beard, he spoke only one sentence: "I am Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq." I want to negotiate. There was no negotiation. He was taken by helicopter and confirmed alive. In 2005, Saddam faced trial in Iraq. He was convicted of crimes against humanity, particularly the 1982 killings in Dujail, and sentenced to death by hanging. On December 30th, 2006, he was executed. His body was buried in his birthplace near a family tomb. Saddam Hussein's life shows the danger of absolute power. Some remember him as a strong leader who modernized Iraq. Others see a cruel dictator who ruled through fear. His childhood trauma, ambition, and ruthless ideology shaped a man whose decisions affected millions. History remembers him not just as a tyrant, but as a symbol of how power can rise and fall. Lessons remain. Fear cannot build peace, silence allows cruelty, and leadership choices carry tremendous consequences. Saddam Hussein's story is not about praise or blame. It is about understanding history, learning from it, and reflecting on power, control, and responsibility.